Hey. Oh, ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Left hand hit it again. It always does. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jonny Hanson, and these are my lofty thoughts. Look at me. I look like I'm sitting next to a house fire. Yeah? It's because I think something to do with the electric when I move over here and it makes it shake. But it looks like there's like a raging fire over there, right? It's like... Yeah, me and my Viking raiders just burned a village off yonder, and I'm just standing in the flames and doing a podcast quick to let the people of my time know that we've won. We're bringing back the victory of the spoils of victory. Oh, pardon me. Needed a little drinky poo. You ever had these? Black Rifle espresso mochas? Not for sure, 1,000,000%. Look at the numbers. Not a sponsor. And I wear their hats a lot too. I love their stuff. It's awesome. This is actually really good. It's probably the best flavored espresso drink, and it's not too strong. I don't want to sit and shake and quiver in the corner and spaz out because though I like it's funny because I love a strong cold brew, but they add extra crap to these things that usually, not this one, that make them these espresso mocha drinks. Like if you have the Monster one, it's like they're adding like taurine and all this other weird crap to it. I don't want all that. I don't. First off, it seems pretty unnatural, but I also get super jittery. And then when I get jittery, I feel nervous and I armpit sweat. It's awful. I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but you're not alone if you do, or I'm alone. Either way, I can deal with it. So, welcome again to Lofty Thoughts. I was, the last time I threatened, and I intend to follow through with my lofty after dark ideas. These are going to be darker ideas that have a darker context, I think. But I think if you hear me through to the end, you'll see that I don't lean on sides. I'm interested in things and thoughts and ideas. So here we are doing this thing. And here's what's funny is I was trying to, I have another podcast, the Untrained Philosophical Discussionists, UPD podcast. And I do that with a fella named Andy Lamb. He's a good buddy of mine, and he's a smart guy I respect. And we love the show. And we've got a guy that's helping us kind of develop a network and really start getting the videos out there because we feel that we have something special that we would like other people to enjoy as well. So he said, we need to kind of figure out what this podcast is in a bite. So we've been contemplating that and contemplating it. We've come up with some things and whatever. And that made me think about here, like, what is this here? What is Lofty Thoughts? What was my plan? And what it is and what it was and has been the whole time, the inspiration for was, have you ever been at a coffee, like a party, you're at some sort of party, a function, whether it's work or friends or a holiday party or anything. And you ever had that opportunity where you've got a good story to tell, you're excited to tell it, and it just all works and all the stars line up. And you start telling this story and everybody's listening, or maybe even few people are listening, but by the end of it, everybody's listening and everybody's engaged. And in fact, a week later, somebody will ask you about your story. Those are the best stories. I'm familiar with that. I get that a few times a year, I suppose. We don't go out a heck of a lot, so maybe I'd get it more. When I was doing music, I had a lot more of them. But I get these, I think that's people that are just kind of going, oh yeah, cool. Oh, you're cool. Whatever, I'll just listen to you. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything to say either. Just dumb stuff, probably. I don't know. Maybe not completely dumb. Different. Younger. So every once in a while you get those opportunities where you're somewhere and you're just on point and you become the center of the room, and you tell a good story, and everybody is engaged with it, and they laugh when they're supposed to, and their laugh's a little better than you even hope for, maybe. I love those opportunities, and my wife pointed out a while back. She said, "Gosh, you get those opportunities sometimes, and you really shine in them, and I love that for you." And I said, "I love those opportunities." My family gives me that a lot because I've always been an animated person. So if you know me, Andy knows me well, and if you watch podcasts for a while, I guess you'll see he gives me a little room to breathe because if I want to talk about something, I want to kind of have it all the way through. That's how I feel that I had my whole idea out then. So Andy's such a great friend. He doesn't cut me off. My wife is like that, and many of my family members are too. They just will let me talk until I get my idea all the way through. And they're patient, and then when the idea is through, they appreciate it. And then it creates more dialogue. So that's what this is. I thought, I won't do it every single day, of course. That's impossible. Nobody can be the star of the room all the time. But sometimes I'll capture those stories, I hope, I've been told, that will engage your mind and just make you feel like, oh man, Jonny really told that one, man. I really like to hear that. I like to think that one through too. Or other times there's ones that'll spark an idea in your head and you'll tell yourself a story. And I don't know. Who knows what kind of future holds? I always joke and say I ain't never going to write nothing. I'm being, I'm being silly for the most part. Obviously, I'd like to have this be as successful as, it could be. And in so much, then people would probably want to let me know what they think. And to do such, I would have to then find out what they think. So maybe at some point in time, there'll be something like that in the future. I don't know. That's what we're doing with UPD. So it wouldn't shock me for the little podcast that could, Lofty, to trail behind Big Papa's steps. So that'll be the plan there. So let's move on. Jeez Louise, what kind of intro is that? That's a 7-minute intro on a 20-minute show, Jonny. All right. Let's see if we can keep people's attention for story time. Okay. Do I start with recent Trump shooter or pagers exploding in Lebanon? Recent Trump shooter. The recent Trump shooter guy, I don't have his name. I don't care about his name. Dead guy. That's what we should call him. But we can't. Unfortunately, not yet. But we should. Once we, once they siphon every bit of usable data out of him, then dead guy. That's what I think. Because that's just ridiculous. You're going to kill a president. Can we just vote these people out? Unless there was some sort of other, I don't know. But this just is not it to me. And we still have law and order in this country. And boy, but, whatever. Who knows? He'll disappear or something. He'll fall asleep and not wake up. The recent guy, but you have to give him credit on this, though. For everything else, everybody's going to talk about all these other things. But, this appeared to be a man of his conviction. When he thought he might have been getting paid to do this thing, so it might be less conviction and more capital. However, if he is who they originally said he was, which is when I wrote this bloody thing down, so this is that thought, then he is been traveling for a very long time. He's been chasing around the world these things that he believes in, like the difference between Russia and the Ukraine. And he thinks, I'm going to go join up with these guys and help them out. But then somehow he was getting Afghanis to come over or something too. Oh my God. That's so weird. And it just, all right. So we got work on Monday and the football game was on Sunday and that was fun too. Did you see what happened? Okay, blah, blah, blah. We're right on to the next thing. And nobody's going wait, what? Who is this dude? Where does this dude come from? Because when they were originally showing his stuff, it was he truly believed in it. Then he camped out there for hours and hours and hours, 12 hours or something like that. 16 hours, just camped out there. This guy decided he was going to do something, man. He just really went and did it. So you got to at least give him that. But it does feel the world feels a bit unreal this political season, and maybe this season in life or something. It feels a bit like a TV show or a movie would be when you watch, or if you observe, let's say, the outside world and what's happening on a global scale or international, even national. Or I'm right in the path of a hurricane, or we were. Today's the day. It had passed yesterday. What was it called? Helene, I believe. Helene. What? Not Helen? Yeah, that one. We took no damage. Power was out last night, but I have generators. So right back on to power. Chilled out. Woke up in the morning. Oh, power's on. Cool. Turn the generator off. Boom. Power back on. Everybody's happy. That is, friends, that is a blessing. Power goes out. Fire up the generator. Power back on. Everybody goes to sleep. Air conditioning. Just perfection. Oh, gosh. Thank you, God, for that one. And thank you, the inventors of this and the people that keep producing them and make them available to me. I'm very grateful for that today. Those generators, that's for darn sure, and every other bloody component that made my evening more comfortable. Yeah. I'm very grateful to those guys. All right. What the heck? Let's change it. Let's change gears here. That one, I think that one fizzled for me only because the Trump shooter, because so much other crap has come out that makes it almost so obvious that he's affiliated with something or somebody. And then we're just never going to find out who that is. And I just think that sucks. And it's starting to become like the MO of governmental affairs. And I hold every politician accountable that has information and isn't giving it up right now, that isn't daily broadcasting it on their own YouTube page or wherever. Because what are we doing here? You're just keeping secrets now too. And then you're all just keeping secrets. And I think it's ridiculous. And really, when you listen to that old JFK tape that they played recently, a couple of nights before they killed him, where he was like reading it to a group in a building. That's where that one famous speech comes from, where he talks about the military, where we can't have these shadow groups within the government. It's like, man, is that what's going on here all the time? I don't even know. Like, I'm not affiliated with none of that stuff, or never have been. Just a guy that's lived a life. But now at the age of 45, I'm looking around going like, man, there seems like there's a lot of, messing around going on, like at all levels of certainly government, but like society too. When I was a child looking up at adults, I just thought like, boy, these guys sure figured it out. And I know that's an easy thing to say, but even as a younger man, I thought, boy, well, I see why we're adults and we're getting things done. But like as this, as I've hit middle age and I'm using all these different lenses now, boy, I don't know how anybody, I think, so this is why everybody, boy, I'm going to go UPD again. Here we go. This is why we're always directing everyone back towards Jesus, though, is because there comes a time where you're looking at this the level of chaos that's actually going on in this world, and you go, man, this is untenable. Because I was thinking about like one of my uncles, my mom told me recently that one of my uncles killed himself. And I was like, what? Well, when? She's like years ago. And it was like somebody on my biological father's side that she had heard about. And she knew the guy, briefly when she was a teenager in early 20s. And then didn't know him again forever. And that stuff is like, oh my gosh, that's so scary to me. Oh my gosh, that is so bloody scary to me. And I think it's scary because, obviously the desperation. At some point in time, he became so confused and so tossed up inside of himself that he couldn't exist anymore. He thought just waking up tomorrow is just not going to solve. nothing's going to solve this. It's impossible to be solved, and I have an insatiable desire to never exist anymore. Bananas. And I think it's because, and I don't know, I know this sounds preachy, I don't want it to, but I think it's because we actually have that desire imbued in us from God. We have that Jesus-shaped hole where at some point in time in your life, if that's not filled enough, the chaos of this world, your mind can't escape it, and it's too much, and it just warps you, and you just become nuts, I think. And you just lose the thread completely. Because you see a bunch of older people, too, that have no faith. Like that old lady that drives by. That is, she's screaming and Millie. I think that you just start to lose it. And I suppose anybody can have their own, issues for sure. I think Jesus just solves those things for all of us and then makes the completion of it. So there's my pitch on that. Sorry to get all UPD here. I know this is a different space, but it's nice to explore those ideas too. The idea of somebody existing and then not existing because they saw that as the only way out. I just say, man, if you're ever feeling that way, nobody thinks their world would be better without you. Nobody ever thinks that. That's an evil thought. So if anybody thinks that they're evil, let's be fair then. So if somebody does think that is an evil thought and they have possession of an evil thought, they definitely have that. But you don't have to have that impact you. What you can think is, you are, if you're not a believer, then I'll say it like this. It can get better, and your value's not used up yet, and that person has to deal with their stuff. Whoever you're projecting that out onto, that you think they think that. First off, I doubt they think it. They might be mad. They might have said something angry at points in time in your life, but they certainly don't think that. People don't think that way, man or lady. So reach out, make a phone call. You can call like 911 even if you need to. And you just say, hey, that's what I feel like. And they'll just talk to you on the phone and stuff. Or you can call there's other numbers too. Gosh, I almost write that down. So it feels like it's a 50th bloody time I've heard a topic has come to that. Just shows you how much that's around. Gosh, that level of desperation is around. I'm going to write that number down for next time. So I'll write number. There we go. So I'll do that. All right. So let's talk about these pagers exploding in Lebanon. What else? What else can you explode? I'm interested to know. I mean, is it just pagers? By the way, they said the pagers were maybe intercepted sometime after they left wherever they were made. What is it? I almost said North Korea. I think it's like Vietnam. I watched a little thing that I'm sure the CIA made up for Bloomberg that says, they were intercepted somehow. Somebody must have flew in maybe Batman did on the Dark Knight series on the top level of a building where they were housing these things and changed out all the batteries quick and then, parachuted back out and was caught by another plane and just caught a ride back to Gotham. That must have been how they did the battery swap, huh? In real life here on this plane of existence. Or they leveraged the guy at the warehouse in Vietnam, or they leveraged the whole country of Vietnam because they wanted it done. Are you serious? Duh. This was a planned operation. We should all be fearful that they can blow up a bunch of other stuff. So basically everything that has a battery is now capable of blowing up and killing you, maybe? If a pager was able to have that level of explosive put into it with a thing, couldn't they just start doing that if they wanted to? It ain't bloody... It's like, what do you call that? It's blowing up in public all the time, always. They're not waiting for Joe to be, they're not tracking it to see is there 0 people around him when we blow it up? No. They're just blowing it up all over the place. Imagine if people were just blowing up here and anything that we carried as Americans was blowing up. Anything ever. And the country was doing it and they openly said they were doing it and everybody else knew they were doing it. What would we do, I wonder? What would anybody else around us think we should be doing, by the way, as the West, the leader of the West? Now, I'm not saying that when these other nut jobs strap a vest on and do the same thing, that they're somehow that's nightmare stuff too. That's terrible and awful. I just thought we were supposed to be the good guys or whatever. I know we're supposed to be affiliated with Israel and they're the ones doing it, but one hand washes the other on all these things. There's one side and there's another side, basically. That's kind of what the world has become for some awful, terrible, horrifying nightmare reason that we should all be aghast of, and we should demand better of our leaders to make peace always, not war. We are just a war country now. It's like there's always a threat. When in your lifetime has there not been a threat of war? It's just the next one and 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 the next one. Why? It just feels like it doesn't have to be that way. I don't live in a house where every day I have to fight someone in my zip code. My house just works, and I do business with other people in the zip code, and that keeps us all pretty well safe because they're doing business too, and we all kind of make our buck, and we've got an agreement, a social pact that says, I'll respect your stuff if you respect mine, and if you don't, well, I might have to set you back into line, and if I do the vice versa, whatever. But I don't know what kind of crap we got going on now. Now it's just bananas. So I feel like I don't know, getting back to these exploding things, what else are going to explode? Are any of those planes that have went down exploded planes? We don't find any pieces of those things. By the way, how long have they been able to explode things? What else has exploded and killed people that we're aware of? Has the United States, if Israel's doing it, how many times has the U.S. done it? How long we've been doing it for? We're never going to get answers to any of that stuff. Do you realize that? That should bother everyone. Now they just blow crap up. Somebody magically, through just like a thought they had in their head, they transferred a thought, but it was a real thought, a real battery full of explosives into a pager by magic. A portal, maybe. Okay. And that's perfectly fine. That's well within all the rules of war and law because somebody else does something else. Who cares? It's all chaos now. You see how this slippery slope goes? All these little violations make everybody go, well, everybody just violates. So why do we even follow any of these rules anyways until it just gets all the way down to the worst possible things? Or sane people can step in and maybe stop something. I don't know. What do you guys think? Told you this was a dark one. Gosh, this one was so. This is its own kind of thing. This is Lofty episode 63. It's like the mad one. Jeez, I'm sorry. So we just got real upset and we talked about the recent Trump shooter guy who was a man at least of his conviction, or he is, I guess. Or he's a CIA plant or some other country plant, and who knows what that'll turn into. And then I also went over the pagers exploding, how terrifying that should be. And I talked about Jesus a bit too, and UPD. So you got a little bit of this and that and the other thing. Kind of a smorgasbord, dark, Lofty After Dark smorgasbord. Thank you so much for joining me. I guess I'll just wrap right there. Gosh, it's kind of a weird day. We had that storm. I had to spend all morning cleaning up everything around the yard. And then I'd wanted to do this, and the power had been out for a little bit. And I had a fire in my belly for it. Did you ever You have like a fire to tell a story, and then somehow the fire dwindles because you get occupied with something else. I'm so sorry if that's how it feels. I'll rewatch it. All right. I hope you guys have a awesome afternoon. I pray that you have a deep and a fulfilling relationship with Jesus, and that he blesses you all the days of your life. Have a great afternoon. Thanks again.